Hi, everyone, and welcome to NLBP TV. I am Camille Miller, the founder of the Natural Life Business Partnership, and we are with my co host today, Lee Gabarzik, Soulful Mandelas out of Long Valley, New Jersey. Hi, Lee.
Well, good morning, Camille.
Good morning, and today we are doing our weekly episode of The Lee and Me Show. And we thought today we would talk about pain versus growth because before we turned on the camera, as always, we were just chatting away. And Lee said something very profound. Do you
Yeah,
remember what it is?
yeah, maybe. Yes. So basically, what we were talking about is that, with change, because change can be very difficult for many people, when the pain of maintaining a certain kind of behavior is greater than the fear of the change implied, then change becomes probable, if not just possible, but probable. And this kind of bottoming out is just a very, very important part of the evolution of consciousness. Because, if I continue to do the thing that I've always been doing, maybe when I was appropriate when I was like a teenager, it may not work when I'm in my 20s, etc. So I'm constantly reinventing myself in some ways by adjusting to my new skill sets, which then allow for me greater opportunities that then, if I take action on them, I get to experience and benefit from. But if I'm playing small, or if I'm playing safe, if I'm denying my skills, if I'm denying my strength, if I'm a fear of what it's going to do in my relationships, if it's going to be a fear about my identity, how I see myself in the world, then maybe I'm going to have to go through this period of reinvention where my egocentric idea of self will literally die. And this kind of identification or death identification can be very, very scary for people.
Yeah.
Who am I when I'm not doing this? Who am I when I'm not like work at, a job? And this is why, when we've talked about this in the past, this is why when men, particularly with men, who get very tied into their careers, that's why so many of them die when they retire, because they do not know how to adjust to the changes in their lives in a way, or maybe they just don't want to, that would allow for them a different kinds of experience based on where they happen to be. And
Yeah.
then they have things happen. Some people will have an epiphany. Maybe that they have an ailment. Maybe they have a heart attack or something, and they go, "Okay, I get it. I need to change. I'm going to go and exercise. I'm going to eat well." How many times you go to the gym, you'll see a whole bunch of people in their 60s that never were there and have come in out of this epiphany of, "I need to take an action here because the pain that I was experiencing with cardiac, implications, possible death, or other severe problems, has motivated me into doing something." But this could be physical kind of distress, an emotional kind of distress, spiritual distress, etc.
Yeah.
If Go
I
on.
just want to jump in as before we were chatting, we were talking more about our cycle of business, which I think
Yeah.
is so relevant right now as everyone is kind of in this pause of, okay, what's next? Now, I really believe at this point in New Jersey, I don't know what week we're in at this point, 11, 12, 45. I have no idea. But whatever week we're in at this point, I think we've all hit acceptance of this
Yeah.
is it. This is it. I'm done being sad about it, or I've done whatever stages that they went through, and now they're like, okay, I have to go do something. So
Mhm.
that's why I thought the conversation was so good to have right now, because you had said something before we turned it on about getting in that feeling when you're tired of that feeling of being uncomfortable, and the pain
Yeah.
is so great that you move on. Like you were afraid of moving on, and
Mhm.
you kind of went through that cycle of moving on, a little scared, moving back, right? And then
Yes.
moving on. And maybe you take like two steps forward, one step back, and
Yeah.
then you hit bottom, or the pain gets so uncomfortable that you just take the leap. And we were saying this because it's a part of I'm in NLBP. I'm launching a new division of the company with
Mhm.
going to start doing summits called Six Figure Souls, and it is crushing me. Because I had a full-time job before I decided to launch this, and to launch it now while we're so incredibly busy, with all of our entrepreneurs, growing.
This
That
is the
it's
thing.
just
Is
I've
that,
I've hit that pain, and I'm just like, yep, I've made the decision. We're just going for it. But there's a light at
absolutely.
the end of the tunnel, and I think that's the big difference. There's a light at the
Well,
end of the tunnel. When you get through the pain,
yeah,
you're gonna be in a different place, and you
yes.
can plateau there for a little bit.
Yeah, there becomes a sense of, I do believe that nothing really is linear in the sense
Right.
of it's always this perfectly even progression where
Yeah,
I
yeah,
start
yeah.
out my business and
Yeah.
I'm going
An
to be making
entrepreneur is
X
like
amount the
this.
next. It's like,
Yeah,
exactly.
entrepreneur is crazy. It's like, "Wah!" all over the place.
And I remember that my father had told me back when I had this business in Persephone. He said that your success, he said, is determined on your ability to adapt. And I remember thinking, oh, that sounds really real. And it really is true because with what we've been going through with the quarantine and the stay-at-home stuff, we've had to adapt because of circumstance. There's a cosmic reason for this. I'm sure that if we want to explore it, but in that is an opportunity. There's an opportunity to explore a different kind of way of doing things that then can be applied to all of the other things that we had been doing, and maybe we'll go back to doing more like that was than it is now, and we can bring that with us, and then we can expand upon our thought process. Because this is the cool thing about challenges. Without challenges, nothing really happens. If I'm in a state of because let's say, also don't think anything stays exactly the same, but if I'm in a stagnant state, if I'm not really making an effort, I'm actually retreating because
Yeah,
life is moving
right.
forward and
Yep.
I'm actually then pulling back. And then I become overwhelmed by life because I'm not dealing with it. So the kinds of responsibilities that I have when I'm retreating, because I'm feeling like whatever, maybe with the virus, I'm retreating, it's too much. And then all these other things come in. You need to pay your bill. You need to figure out a source of income. You need to figure out your support system. You need to take care of your mental health. You need to take care of your physical health, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I hadn't been doing that really, or maybe because of the virus, I didn't think I could do it. And then things start happening. So then I might have like discomfort. I may be gaining weight. I may be having mental health issues. I may be having other problems. And this pain, this exhaustion that I'm experiencing, I'm like, wait a second, this is just too much. I got to do something here. Because life is like telling me, act, get moving.
Right.
And then I start kind of stretching a little bit and I discover new things. So now I have a whole new skill set that has come out of this that I can then apply to everything else. And because of that, I have a greater sense of my capabilities, my possibilities, and also then my self-esteem is growing because I know I can do it.
Right.
Something really, really cool about, when I think about what is really, really satisfying for me, the most satisfaction I actually get, it's not on a vacation. It's not on just hanging out. It's not just like kicking back and watching Netflix. The most satisfaction I ever really experience, even though it's irritating sometimes, is when I do something that's difficult.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
real rush. It's like I sleep better. If let's say that I've been putting something off, maybe it's something financial, maybe I need to consolidate debt, or maybe I need to do something with the IRS or some other kind of tax craziness. And I've been putting it off and putting it off, putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. And then I do it and I'm like, oh, I feel so much better. And the reason is because all of these unaddressed things that we talk about, where we kind of keep pushing them down, pushing them down, pushing them down. Well, we have to maintain that idea in our head at some level, even if it's just unconscious, because it's something that hasn't been dealt with. And because it's there, it expresses itself in dreams. Maybe I have a dream. My common one when I'm not up to snuff on stuff is I still am like 3 credits short of graduating from college. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I still have that other course to do and I have to write that paper. So staying on top of things is really, really important, because it starts integrating into the unconscious mind, and it starts disrupting stuff. That's the kind of the pain thing that we were talking about. And then when I take action on it, I'm like, yes, not only can I do that, then I can do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And it's this other direction of empowerment.
Yeah. I think it's when you accomplish something that you didn't think you could.
Oh, even better.
When you feel like you get into your uncomfort zone and you did it,
Yeah.
you kind of pass that fear stage.
Yes.
It kind of sets you up for whatever's next. So I always tell everyone that I coach in our community that it's really about small momentum, baby steps. Just keep going in the right direction, because it's like, how do you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. You're like, when you look at the whole picture, it's scary as hell. But when you just take active steps, even one thing a week, even if you just took 1% a day, right? You're over 300% at the end of the year. Like, it's just get there. It's like compounded interest.
Well, I love, actually on other podcasts I've talked about this, I love Pope John the 23rd's quote of, notice everything, I'm paraphrasing here, notice everything, overlook a great deal, correct a little.
Tweak.
Just
what I say, tweak it.
Because, this is true of managing ourselves and also of managing other people, if we're in the position of that, to do that. And the other thing too is that Lao Tzu quote comes up for me all the time of a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single footstep.
Yep.
And I do think that the most challenging thing to do, and I know this whenever, it sounds, one of the things about established concepts is that they can so easily be written off as a cliche. It's like the brain goes, I don't want to deal with that. I'm going to put that in the cliche department, because that just can't, and has too much relevance in this moment. It's just like something that I just don't want to deal with. And then when I'm actually taking these certain kinds of actions and working through that, and I actually do experience that, and I'm like, yes, I feel good.
Excellent. Very cool. So I think the moral of the story is go into your uncomfort zone, because you'll come out together. I just love when you say when your pain is great enough.
Your pain is great enough, and you really have had, and you really, that one of the things about this, though, this is very important too. So if I'm in some kind of discomfort about something, maybe it's an emotional issue that I need to address, right? Or some kind of, it could be financial, it could be anything.
Yeah.
And I keep not wanting to deal with it. Well, then my coping mechanisms can become a problem too, because let's say that I'm drinking because I don't want to feel the emotions.
Yeah.
Gambling, there's 1,000 ways to avoid. Those things eventually become exhausted too, because even those things then lead back to the action. In other words, all roads lead back to whatever it is that is essential for me to deal with. Every single thing comes back to that. And I can go on these journeys into some kind of distraction or addiction or whatever that kind of, gives me the illusion that things are all right because I'm so bonkers and high. But the reality is that even that, of course, will blow up. And then I end up having to deal with what I had before, plus this issue.
Right. Gotcha.
Now I have a compounded kind of thing. So all of the point is, I cannot escape my own truth. I can't escape my own reality. I cannot delegate my personal responsibility either.
Yeah.
My responsibility also is directly connected and proportionate to my opportunities. my understanding and identity, the roles that I play. Someone will say, well, I have the responsibility of a mom. Yeah, but you also have the opportunity of being a mom. You have the awareness of being a mom that another person who's not a mom doesn't get.
Yeah.
So the greater our responsibilities, the greater our sense of what it is that we are doing for ourselves, what it is that we are accomplishing for ourselves.
Yeah.
The greater our sense of capability and opportunity, because that is really, really cool.
Yeah. And if you're grateful for opportunity, you'll tend to grow. Like if you look at it all as an opportunity and not like a label, or not like I'm this, or you're stuck in this role. It's
Yes.
the opportunity that it opens up for you. Right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I always try to find gratefulness in anything that comes my direction. Just say, okay, so what's my opportunity here? Even if it's not looking so good on the outside. Just
yes,
say,
yes.
yeah.
When I'm doing the kind of, any kind of work that I'm doing connected to kind of like intuitive work, etc. The very, very, the go-to in case of emergency, in case, like there's a fire burning and all hell's broken out, the one thing to really grab onto is gratitude. Maybe it's the smallest little thing. Maybe it's just the fact that you have like your health.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe there's a part, even if maybe some of the health is gone, but there's something else within health, or maybe it's something else within your family, or maybe it's something else within, I don't know, abilities. And that is the starting point to come back to what it is I wanted to achieve, because I always build upon the things that are working in my life. If I get caught up in the distractions of all of the other things that can't happen, then that is part of the argument that I'm making against change and staying in where I'm staying until, again, I've had enough of it to the point where I can't stand it, and then I'm forced to move on because I realize that this is just not going anywhere and I'm miserable. Right. And I own it because I am choosing to be consciously connected to my emotional states in a way that gives a sense of truth and authenticity about my experience. And even that has great value because that GPS system is incredibly important when navigating the seas of life.
Love it. Yeah, we'll finish there. That was all right. If you love this episode of Lee and Me, please share it with your friends, either our podcast or our audio. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any other ideas of what you'd like to hear us talk about, please contact us at thenaturallife.org and let us know what that's like. Thanks, Lee, for another great episode.
Thanks, Camille.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.